another YouTube, another week. This week's going to be a bit of a mixed bag again. Not sure exactly how it's going to go. I've got a few trucking jobs to do here. We're down here at our Yarunga site to load some barley that's in these big silos here. Just a little bit lighter barley, a bit better for feed than the stuff we've got at our other site. These are our 2,750 tonne Brock silos, so there's about 11,000 tonne worth of storage down here. It's on one of our satellite farms down in Savanac. We come down here and we just wanted storage close to these other satellite blocks, and it's about in the centre of all four of them, the four other blocks that we have. That's what we're doing. Let's go to load some barley. I've shown you one of these loads before, so I'm not going to do another one, but I thought I'd just show you some of the fert side of our operation, because that's this is where we bring all our fert generally. It's in the middle of the whole farm, so we generally bring all the fert here and store it all here in a fert shed and in fertiliser silos. So I'm going to have a bit of a look at that. A little bit windy this morning. See how the audio goes. Hopefully it's good. Really needed my furry mic that I don't have. Anyway, just 2 road trains of urea coming back here today, so I'm just closing everything up just to see inside it. Wonder where the spring's gone off that one. Ideal. Struggle here. Show all the bloody bottoms are closed. As I said, very windy. Just got a cold change here. It's bloody cold as hell. Hence the reason I'm wearing a jumper for the first time this year. Make sure all the lids are open. Where did you put the auger in there? There's going to be about 4 road trains worth of fert come back here this week, so need a bit of space. I'll get the auger set up in the hole. Yeah, this yellow auger up into them silos, but I'm just trying to do a few repairs with no tools here, try and stop this spout leaking so much. Generally it leaks urea everywhere, which is not really ideal. Just have to pull this side and that side back out to stop it from everywhere. Otherwise it's a pretty good system with that spout, particularly when you load that truck, but it's a little bit cumbersome when you're going into these silos. So just got a few loads of MOP in here so far. We've basically put it in with our big yellow auger and just spat it around in here. We've been putting impact or flutrifill on as we go. A little bit cheaper than buying it down at Geelong, or getting it applied down at Geelong, which is where we get all our fertiliser from. I thought I'd just show you exactly how we apply it. So basically, it's all in this shuttle here. We mark on the side of the shuttle how many litres it's got to go out per trailer generally of the truck. So truck holds about 29 tonne. If you do it 2 litres per tonne, you need double that, so you get the idea. We just mark it as it's going down, and then essentially, you know, if it's going out at the right rate, try and calibrate it with a 5 litre jug, and then just pour it back in the top. But to actually applicate it, it's just a 2-inch cam lock. 1/2-inch hose, 1/2-inch tap. You can use to regulate it a little bit, and from there it just dribbles directly into the auger itself. Auger mixes it and ends up in here. It's a pretty simple and efficient way to do it. The hard part is you got to elevate this shuttle with some sort of loader or telehandler or something. It's the only way to get the right flow out. So that's one thing. Just got out of the telehandler and here to do it, which is a bit of a pain for us because this isn't our main work site, but we just bring the telehandler down here, elevate it up, run it into the auger. Takes a little while. It's pretty slow augering, but at the end of the day we're only doing 500 or 700 tonne per year, and then yeah, you're all done with. But I thought I'd just run through how we did all that, and yeah, it's not a bad little system really. Taken us a long time to do it. We used to use 12 volt pumps with spray nozzles. We used to use 240 volt house pumps. None of them could really handle the impact. It's like paint, that stuff. So we just went back to this. We actually had an air pressure operating vessel there at one stage. That worked too. Then it popped and blew up. Yeah. This is by far and away the quickest and easiest way to put it on, is just dribble it using gravity. So that's basically the end of our fertiliser setup. There's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing critical about it. It just gets the job done and that's it. I'll go and chuck me barley on and head off down the road, and we'll see what else we can find for the rest of the week. So we're back on the seeder preparation today. The boys have been fitting up remote grease lines to all the augers, the metering augers underneath. You can see that's the end of one there, and there's another one up there. 10 in total, 10 bearings. They're supposed to be greased every 12 hours religiously with a couple of pumps of grease. Well, the boys have just fitted this up today. Should make it a lot more simple. One of those jobs we should have done from the start, but have it, make it a lot more easy now. Really like to do the same on this bar as well. There's pivot points here, and then a couple of frame points, about 4 up in underneath the hoses here. See that it's one of them there. It'd be good if they had remote grease lines that just come out to here, hit them with the grease. It's not that much maintenance to do on these machines, but greasing's one of those jobs you got to do regardless, and it'd be good if they were all on remote grease lines, so you just get it done and keep moving in the paddock. Hit them when you fuel up and away you go. I think without fail, every time we hook up, well, generally any implement ever, but this seeder, there's always something not quite right when you hook it up. It should be just easy to go, but the camera wiring gave us a bit of trouble this time. We've gone and replaced it with these 4-pin wires. They come with these weak ass little plugs on them, so we put the Deutsch connectors on there, but yeah, need a bit more protection. I think they cop a bit of a hide in there, and the same at the back, on the back of the bar. But I think this year no cameras, scales were missing, but they turned up. And no GPS feed into the TopCon screen, which makes no sense because it literally sits in there all day, all year I should say, and I'm not 100% sure why that isn't working, but we'll figure that out soon enough. All the coulters are being checked for bearings, all the secondaries have been replaced, all the primaries were replaced last year. She's all greased. We're not that far away from hitting up some feed barley just for the sheep. We'll probably do that first. There's about an inch forecasted for tomorrow, so maybe after that we'll go out and hit that, and then we'll be well and truly into it sort of first week of April, I'd say. So that'll be good. 8250's out of action here for a little while the transmission's in the 9250, so she's stuck in the way a bit, but anyway, that's all right. The popcorn's all finished. 9250 sitting over the back there, just ready to pounce on some feed corn, so the harvest has come to a bit of a stall for a little while, but that's all right. We'll be back into it soon enough. In all honesty, these trucks have been rolling more than anything this week. I've been doing a few loads myself. I've got another one on here to go tomorrow. Corn up to near Wagga. But I'm just having a few issues with my razor taps. It's not taking the charge from the lights as like there should be, so I think I need a new little charging module from razor taps. And yeah, I had another issue with my cable inside this morning, which gave me a fair bit of grief right in the middle of fairly windy storm, it decided to try and flip my tap completely off, which annoyed me to no end. I wanted to speak about the auto grease system on this John Deere and bucket system that we have. I had a few issues with it not pumping so much out of the reservoir. In fact, it was pumping nothing. I think we finally figured out in the end. But the previous owner, he put me onto a fella called Nick Bell from Bellmec Engineering. I think they're based in somewhere in Melbourne by the sounds of it. But you can almost guarantee if you've got a John Deere anything with the auto greaser on it, between here and probably Tamworth in New South Wales and out into South Australia, he has probably fitted it. So he's a good bloke to know and put in your phone card to run through what the problem I was having. I was having a few issues with the Becker Max greasing system on this tractor. Not pumping as much as it should be. So in fact, it was just building up 0 psi of pressure. There was nothing going on. And what he showed me was this. So in this Becker Max system, there's an element or a pumping element in there and the exact same thing on the other side. And one side does the tractor, the other side does the bucket. It's a pretty simple system, but they have a little plunger system in there, and they are notorious for wearing out, he tells me. So I went to, he sent me a couple. He sent me one. He had one when he came out here to look at it, and we installed it. Inside there, there's basically an eccentric style rotating system, and it just sort of spins and sends a little pump of grease out every time it spins. I filled this one, or we filled this one, me and Joe, this morning up to about here. It's used that much in a day, so it's still pumping a fair bit out here. Before it was pumping very little at all, but yeah, so he sent me 2 new elements and that got the pump rolling again, which was most of our problem. But he also went into great detail with the rest of the system. If you don't know about it, there's time control in there, so you can set it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, 6 hours, I think, as intervals, and then for however many minutes you want it to go for. So those are a couple of options you've got in there. You pull off the little panel and then essentially adjust it with a little flat blade screwdriver. Every spin it sends out a certain amount. I think it's 1 cc of grease. It's not much, it's only like this much, but if you've got it on for a couple of minutes where you get 30 pumps, but it's going to spread itself all the way across the tractor and the bucket. You may have this Becker Max system, particularly if you've got a Lowe's bucket. I saw a brand new one on a Lowe's bucket just yesterday, so they're still putting them on there, but they're now owned by Granville, not Alumlu, which is what mine is apparently. So that's another thing. Apparently there's only 4 major auto grease system manufacturers in the world, and I think Granville are up to about 50% of the market share. So on this particular one, I couldn't tell you how many grease nipples there are, but there's a fair few. So there's a bank here. This is the bank for basically the roller, the hinge, a couple of these, and the piano hinge underneath, I believe. And they all have a certain sizing on them. So if you look at them closely, they're all written on there. It's a bit hard to see, particularly if my phone won't focus there. But see, there's a 105 there with 2 ports off it. The second one's a 105 with 1 port off it. This one here is a 45 with 1 port off it. And I can't read what those two are. I think they're 25s by the looks of it. So basically, that's a ratio. It doesn't indicate size or anything, it's a ratio. So if we've got 7 ports coming off the side, the 105 is the biggest. You're getting about 55 ratio, or 52.5 ratio at either side. This one here is a 105 on its own, so it's getting 105 amount of the grease. It's not really a ratio, it's not a percentage, it's just, you've got to look at the bank in its entirety. This one's a 45 with 1 coming off it, these ones are 25 with 2, so there's not much grease coming out of them. And if you think about it, you can sort of adjust your amount, how much you want to go to each grease nipple depending on what you have. So these rollers will take the most amount of grease, and there I'm pretty sure that's the 105 for single. These 105s of double, they go on the apron hinge by the looks of it, and I think the other one goes down to underneath the bowl here in the piano hinge. These ones take a fair bit. I think they may be another 45 single on its own, and then there's other little ones like this one up here taking the double 25. And you can see provided there's crease coming out the back of them, they're doing their job. There's that one there. There's another one here in the back. We've fitted this system ourselves. We bought it off a mob in Griffith, but if you don't want to do that, Nick will come out and do it all, and he'll set it up properly for you, and I highly advise that he does if you're looking at an auto grease system. I think I'm here talking about them today. This side's very similar to the other side. I'm here talking about them today mainly because I think they're going to become more popular as time goes on. You can see there's a fairly large one here doing the cushion hitch ball because it needs to be fairly large. One thing I haven't mentioned is these have shuttle valves in them, right? So it sends a certain amount of grease that way, a certain amount of grease this way. Then this one, then this one, then this one, and this one, then this one, this one. You can hear them going when you actually manually grease them if you have to do that. That's a manual. Each one's got its own manual grease system. So it just sends the required amount out and then goes to the next one. Simple idea. They're a little plunger style system in there. I haven't actually pulled one apart myself, but this is what I'm told. And if one of them fails for whatever reason, it'll pull the whole system up. So if you get a kinked line like this one here is trying to be, if you get a pivot stop taking grease for whatever reason, which you shouldn't because it's on an auto greasing system, but if you do, it will essentially stop the whole system, and what will happen is out the front on your pump, which is back up the front here, that knob there is the pressure relief valve. If you see grease flying out of there, it means you've got a block somewhere. The same on the one on the other side for the bucket. So if one comes to a halt, it'll bring the whole system to a halt. And if you start seeing grease flying out of that knob, or the pressure relief valve, then you'll know that's what's going on. This one here has a whole bunch. So this is the main tractor one. In fact, two of these just go to the other side of the tractor there, but each one has its own ratio, and they're just going from one side to the other, to the other, to the other, all the way along until the tractor's fully greased. And you can see it's doing a pretty good job. There's a fair bit of grease in there at the moment. Probably over greasing a little bit. Still trying to dial it back since we replaced the elements on the pump. But yeah, so this one actually feeds the other side, as I said. So they're all achieved here. If your pump isn't working for whatever reason, you can just find the master, and this is the master here, and it'll feed them all. You got to feed it a bunch of grease to get the job to do it. But if you need to keep it greased because your pot's empty or whatever, you can do it in that with a hand grease gun. You just need a fair bit of grease. But yeah, anyone who's looking at setting up a bucket, I think this is the way to go. Now that we've got it working, you wouldn't have it any other way. You can come out here every day and grease each point. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you're looking at one of these systems, I would get under Nick. I would get him out and get him to set it up, because there's a bit of thought and effort. It's not just a bunch of T's everywhere and the grease goes some places and not to the others. They are almost a prescription grease to a pivot or a bearing or a sliding bearing or a slide. Whatever you need to grease needs to have the right amount of grease there. So you can't just plumb in a bunch of T's. This probably applies to excavators and all sorts of stuff, but yeah, you need to have the right amount of grease going to each point, otherwise it doesn't work nearly as well as it should. Here we are on Friday, 39 mils overnight across all of the farms. Really happy with it. It was that dry before, it doesn't even look like it's wet. That's a tar drain beside me. Just what the doctor had ordered for the start of sowing, so everyone's got a grin on their face today, including me. Fixed the last couple of issues with the tractor and the seeder. I reckon we will be into some grazing barley next week, no doubt, now that we've had this rain. And yeah, If you're a fan of the YouTube channel so far, please subscribe, send us a like, and we will see you all next week. Have a good one.